Hi, in this video I'm going to show you how to put together the Lighthouse card, which is an SVG file from Simply Crafty SVGs. With this card I like to get all the piecing done first, so here's all the little pieces. So I'm using the art glitter glue. And we have the little sign to the left. And all I did was write that out with, I used a Cricut maker for this one. I used a pen to write out happy birthday. So it's just a blank tag. It doesn't come with the happy birthday. But it's something so you can write whatever sentiment you want, whether it be birthday, retirement. This actually has the colors of Coast Guard. So, I mean, this is modeled after a Coast Guard lighthouse. So it could be something to do with that as well. Or really anything. So I'm just going to go ahead and pop up that top portion of the sign just to give it dimension. So all the rest of this is just me going through how to piece it together, other than the box card assembly later on. So if you feel confident of how to piece this together, you can forward through the video. So for this we have that backing piece, which I made dark gray or black, you could make it, and just lightly place glue on there. And the easiest way is to align it to the bottom of the lighthouse and to get it in place, because there's that little rounded area at the top. Then we have these little red lines. So this is loosely modeled after a real lighthouse, but I added this part of it. So you could omit those if you don't like them. So I'm using the pick me up tool to really piece them first, so I know which one goes where, because they're different sizes. So I haven't glued them quite yet. I just wanted to get an idea where they were. So you just want to put just a little bit of glue in the middle, not too much towards the edges, so you can slide it up and down in place until the sides match up. There's nothing exact about this. If you have watched me with other piecing, I try not to put cut lines when I don't have to. And the reason is, let's say you want to use that white without the red stripes. I just don't want you to have to deal with that. And I don't want to have to also include like 500 million different versions of it. As some people, it gets more confusing with the more files that I add. So this is just a top portion, so you just want to go ahead and layer this piece. It's not a square, so it'll only go on one way, so you want to just lightly put glue on the back. And this is an optional piece, that front piece. It just is to emulate windows. But it looks fine without that if you didn't want to use that. So just giving you options, because I did my last one without that. And it's going to rest right above the bottom edge of the roof. So it doesn't really matter just as long as you center it there, because it's meant to be seen through the holes, the openings in the railing piece. That'll come next with the roof. You could also actually layer all these in your die cutting software if you have the ability to print and cut with your software, which most people do. Majority of the people that I know use either Cricut, Design Space, or Silhouette Studio. I mean, there's also Shortcuts a lot, but you can do print and cut on most consumer die cutting machines these days. So you just layer them, and then you can tell the machine to only cut the edge and print it. Basically, you print it on your printer. So of course I'm not going into specifics because there's a lot of different steps for different software. When you see it's layered now. So that's the most involved layering piece. The house is pretty straightforward, and we'll also layer the bushes. So we're going to put that aside. So now we're just going to piece together the little bushes. So we just have one bush that needs to be placed on for dimension in the middle of each. They're the same shape. So that's where the pick-me-up tool comes in handy. Just move it over a little bit as I finish them. To me, this is the most time-consuming of the card. I don't know why I keep on making cards that have all this detail in it, but I do. You think I'd learn? I guess I like it. And I hope a few of you do too. So you could put that big part. I'm just going to do the roof first, and you can see that it lines up at the top and the top edges and the top of the actual roof, because we want a little white line to emulate a trim at the bottom part. So be careful where you place the glue. If you glue it like me, you can always put it on the red piece. My problem is I tend to drop things, so sometimes it's better just to do that and just to line it up here. So for me, it's easier to put it on the item that I have to glue on if I can. Otherwise, I tend to have the dropsies a lot. So, and then it gets on something you don't want the glue to go on, and then frustration occurs, and I don't need to tell you what happens after that. And that embossing folder I used was, I think it's called Grid Lines from SVGs. It is. Just to give it a little texture on the roof. Now I'm just going to add a little foam tape to be able to pop this up when we finish that bottom part. Just getting prepped here. Fortunately, that's not sticky enough to go flying on the sticking on anything. So now we'll layer this. They're the same shape, so just carefully add the glue on the back of the white piece. And then we'll add that little door afterwards to create a little dimension. You know, this would be fun decorated as a Christmas card. I wouldn't want to do many of them because it wouldn't be a mass Christmas card, but it'd be a fun one-off card to do for somebody. I don't like to torture people. But again, you could print and cut. You could just layer everything and print and cut with your own colors or whatever you want to do. I just think it looks so much better with dimension when you layer. I like the piecing effect. But when I'm in a hurry, I'll do print and cut. So we're just going to add the door, and that you just want to line it up with that window opening. And then to me, the hardest part is getting that that roof on straight. You want to make sure that you're right over it, because I wasn't right over it. I wasn't quite. I corrected it, but it wasn't quite straight the first time I put it on. So when I'm putting something like that, I kind of have to get like my head right over the area that I'm putting it, so you can't see the back, because you don't want anything kind of sticking out from the top. So now that you have those done, we'll add them to the inserts and the cards, and then put together the actual box card. So these are the pieces. That's the front, and that's a grass insert, the first insert in the front, and this is the house will be the one behind the grass, and then the back is where the lighthouse goes. So we're going to take our pieced house and just fit it in the little space there. Just line it up. So I always check the edges or feel with my fingers on the edges to make sure I'm lined up. And those tabs will fold back And we're just going to add these little set of bushes on each side of the door. Just a little bit to the left and right, and it goes, just the end of them go just right beyond the house. On the right hand side, you can't go too much far beyond. You don't want to go beyond, you don't want to have it jutting out really beyond the fold, the tab fold. I mean, you can, but just to make life easy. And then we'll add that pieced lighthouse to that back piece. And just fit it in the space. I have a little glue on my fingers. And I have to apologize for those that might think it's rude. I use my middle finger for whatever reason. It's like one of my most helpful fingers. So no offense. You know, I do this a lot in my videos. I always think about that, but no offense to anybody. Probably weren't even thinking that, but I worry about that kind of stuff. So we're going to take the lighter green. So I made the lighter green one with a different tone green. And I'm going to put that on the insert. And it will fit. Just make sure you center it. I gave it a little space on the left and right so it doesn't interfere with the tabs. So just match it up to the curve on the top and it'll place it right where it needs to be. And I kind of lightly ink it with Distress ink. I know you can't really see it, but in person you can see that it's very subtle. So for spacing, those tabs space come towards me. So the other tabs will go backwards. So now we're going to put together the basic cards. We're going to wait to put on those last panels on the front after we put the card together. So you can see I folded the front piece, which goes around to the sides and also the back. And I had an issue with my tab, but I had fixed the file. I forgot to angle the tab down so it didn't interfere with that the lighthouse. So you can see that's the front. The front is facing me, so the texture's out, and then I placed the lighthouse panel upside down, and we're going to glue this tab to the inside. And I was having a little glue bottle malfunction with my art glitter glue. So we're going to match that edge over up to the tab fold. Just match it right up so the bottom aligns, the bottom edges. So we're going to take this, and hopefully you can see it, but you see how it folds on the left there? This is how it's going to look, so I'm just going to show you that first. So we want it towards us because we want the spacing in the front of the card. That's not where it needs to be. Oh yeah, that's where it needs to be actually. So see on the left side, you see where that fold is right there? You can align it with that. I would say just go in just a little bit. But you want the end of the tab to be close to that tab fold. Then we're going to fold that other tab in, add glue to it, and when you fold it over, just flatten it and make sure the bottom aligns with the back piece, and that'll put it right in place. That'll put exactly where the tab needs to go. So that's why I told you not to put the end of the tab too close to the fold. We just a little bit just to give you leeway. But you see it glued it on. This way we're not like reaching in, trying to do all sorts of funky stuff if you've done box cards before. And we're going to do the same thing. It's better for me because I'm flattening it at the same time. So now I'm folding them back, and I'm doing it the opposite, the back tab fold. So we're going to align that edge just to the left of that fold where it folds, where the side and the back fold. So just make sure you go right to the left of it. So I'm trying to show you, that's why I fold it so you can see it. And I'm just folding it over to make sure that it clears it. So again, I'm flattening it to apply pressure to that tab. And then we'll glue the other side. I'm just double checking to make sure I tell you the right way to do it. My brain doesn't always function too well, so now we have that. It's just flattened. It's not folded back or anything. That last tab. Just again, just lay it on that last tab, put glue on it. Do not fold it back like we did the first one. And then you can see it's folded in there and has the proper distance spacing that we wanted. So for this last one, we want to fold that tab in. This will close the card. Excuse me. And then we'll line that edge up to the tab fold. So what's nice about this is that it's applying the pressure at the same time as it's putting together the card. So all that's left really is to put the panels on the fronts and sides. So you just want to match them to the area. I do want to note that there is a layered in the extra stuff folder. When you unzip the file, there is an extra file called it's layered versions of the house and the Lighthouse. So if you want to do a print and cut, it would be easy to go get them. And I also included kind of just a generic rounded long rectangle if you want to have a different message tag on the back. But I didn't include that because if you're using a white card, you could just write on the back, but that's up to you. You might have a dark base, so you might want to have a green base. So it doesn't matter really what the base of the card color is, because you have these pieced items. So if you made it black, let's say, at least we have an optional panel for the back, but you can easily make one as well. And you'll see that I switched glues, but the only reason I did that was because I was having some issues with the little bottle that I have my art glitter glue in, so I'm using Scotch for the remainder of the card. For some reason, I have like a malfunctioning bottle, so anyways, that's why we switched glues. You know, and if you can find a cute embossing folder, if you emboss, because you know I love embossing, that'd be fun to do the grass. I tried to de-emboss them with the Cricut Maker de-embossing tool, and I just wasn't thrilled with it, so I went plain. So the last thing, because I want to kind of tone down that white a little bit that I'm seeing, I'm just gonna ink the edges. So that's chalk ink, color box chalk ink that I use. And I think that's charcoal. Charcoal, and a brown. I can't think of the brown right this moment. Those are like my two common ones that I use almost on everything. Because I like nature colors. So I tend to do those with brown, but for this one I chose black. Because I had a little black tone in the card. So that's it. It does fit into a A7 envelope, which we have a free one on our website that you can download and make. It's an SVG file. We have a whole set of them. So it, like I said, this is 5x7. Oh, we forgot this little sign. So this is just optional sign anyways, but we'll go ahead and add that. And I do love box cards because they do flatten to fit into an envelope, and then the recipient can open them up and display them, which is kind of cool. Totally cool. Wouldn't that make a fun like Christmas or Halloween card? I'm just saying. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this project. I hope you like it. And If you do, please give me a little like down there if you like this. If you don't, please don't dislike it. No, you can do whatever you like, but I also enjoy subscribers as well. Well, thank you so much for watching.